The moment you hear this title, pause, breathe, and imagine this. The world stops expecting you to be strong, fast, or rough. In this story, I am not walking. I am being carried. Yes, carried, like the precious little princess I was always meant to be. If that made your heart flutter even a little, stay right here with me, because today we are stepping into a fantasy where softness is power and surrender is royalty. Welcome back, my lovely dolls. It's your Sissy Empress, and today's rule is deliciously simple and dangerously divine. A sissy princess does not rush. A sissy princess does not stomp. A sissy princess does not walk at all. She is lifted, supported, adored, and carried through her world like the treasure she is. Let that sink in for a second. No pressure on your feet. No demand to move faster. Just arms around you and the sweet permission to be small, elegant, and cared for. I want you to picture yourself right now. Chin slightly up. Shoulders relaxed. That soft, knowing smile playing on your lips. Every step you use to take on your own is replaced by trust. And trust, my darling, is the most feminine energy there is. When you allow yourself to be carried, you are not weak. You are choosing grace over struggle. This rule is not about laziness. Oh no. It's about worth. A princess is not carried because she cannot walk. She is carried because she should not have to. Say that with me in your heart. I should not have to. Feel how that changes everything. The world bends differently when you accept that you deserve gentleness. There was a time I believed I had to prove myself by enduring discomfort. Tight shoes, heavy steps, always pushing forward. But the day I embraced my inner sissy princess, I learned a new truth. Being cherished feels better than being tough. Being admired feels better than being rushed. Being carried feels better than arriving on your own. Imagine the playful sway as you're lifted. The way your body naturally relaxes. Your legs no longer leading, your heart doing all the guiding. You become present. You become soft. You become art. This is the magic of the rule. No walking means no running from who you are. You are exactly where you belong, exactly as you are. And listen closely, sweetheart, because this is a line you'll remember. A sissy princess doesn't touch the ground to prove her value. The world lifts her because it already knows. Hold on to that. Let it echo. Now take a deep breath with me. Let the fantasy wrap around you like satin. This is only the beginning of our rules, and each one will take you deeper into your feminine power, your confidence, your delicious surrender. Close your eyes again, my sweet one, because Rule 1 didn't just change how you move, it changed how you are seen. When you stop walking, people don't look at your destination anymore. They look at you. Being carried turns you into the moment itself. Heads turn, breaths pause, energy shifts. A sissy princess doesn't chase attention. Attention follows her naturally. Now let me tell you how this rule feels on the inside. The instant your feet leave the ground, something melts. Control loosens its grip. That constant voice telling you to hurry, to harden up, to be practical, it goes quiet. In its place comes a softer voice whispering, relax, you're safe, you're wanted. And darling, that whisper is intoxicating. Being carried teaches you posture without effort. Your spine lengthens, your chest opens, your neck becomes elegant. You don't force femininity, it arrives on its own. Your body learns to trust the arms holding you, and that trust spills into your energy. You glow differently when you are supported. That glow is what people call princess energy. Some of you might feel a little shy about this rule, and that's delicious too. Shyness is not weakness. Shyness is softness asking to be protected. When you allow yourself to be picked up, you are saying, I allow myself to be cared for. That sentence alone can rewrite years of emotional armor. Let me share a little secret from my own journey. The first time I truly imagined myself being carried, I felt guilty. Like I was asking for too much. Then I realized something powerful. The guilt was never mine. It was taught. And the moment I dropped it, pleasure rushed in. Pleasure in being light. Pleasure in being precious. Pleasure in not having to perform strength. Here's a line I want you to keep close to your heart. A sissy princess is not heavy, no matter her size. She is carried by desire, not by effort. Let that wrap around you. Feel how freeing that is. This rule also changes how you interact with the world. You stop pushing doors open and start waiting for them to be opened. You stop rushing ahead and start arriving exactly when you're meant to. Time slows down for you because you're no longer fighting it. You float through moments instead of forcing them. And oh, the confidence it builds. Not loud confidence. Not aggressive confidence. The quiet kind. The kind that says, I know my worth, and I don't need to explain it. When you are carried, you don't apologize for taking space. You become the space others gladly hold. So let your legs relax. Let your hands soften. Let your expression turn dreamy and calm. This rule is training you, gently, lovingly, to receive. And receiving is one of the most powerful feminine skills there is. We're only going deeper from here, my precious princess. If your heart is already fluttering and your body feels lighter just listening, stay right with me. Now let's deepen this fantasy, my darling, because rule 1 is not just physical, it's psychological. When a sissy princess accepts being carried, her mind begins to change before her body ever does. You stop planning every move. You stop anticipating resistance. You start living in reaction, in sensation, in feeling. And that shift is deliciously dangerous. Imagine how it feels when you no longer decide where you're going. You're guided, chosen, taken exactly where you're meant to be. There is a thrill in that surrender, a sweet flutter in your stomach that says, I don't have to lead anymore. I can simply be. That is not giving up control, sweetheart. That is choosing a different kind of power. A carried princess becomes deeply aware of her body in the most feminine way. You feel the curve of your back, the softness of your thighs, the gentle sway as you're moved. Every motion reminds you that you are something to be handled with care. Not grabbed. Not rushed. Carried. The word itself feels like silk on the tongue. Some of you listening right now might feel a quiet ache in your chest. That ache is recognition. It's the part of you that always wanted permission to rest inside someone else's strength. And I'm here to tell you something important. Wanting to be carried does not make you childish. It makes you honest. Here's a truth most people never say out loud. Independence is praised, but intimacy is what heals. And being carried is intimacy without words. It's saying, I trust you, and hearing, I've got you, without a single sound. That exchange is deeply, profoundly feminine. Let's talk about presence. When you walk, your mind is ahead of you. When you're carried, your mind returns to your body. You notice breath. You notice warmth. You notice closeness. You stop dissociating from yourself and start inhabiting your softness fully. A sissy princess is never half present. She is felt completely. I want to give you another line to keep, one that belongs only to those who understand this rule. When my feet leave the ground, my worries stay there. Feel that. Let your worries drop away, one by one, as you rise into being held. And don't think for a moment that this rule makes you invisible. Oh no, darling. It makes you unforgettable. People remember what they lift. People remember what they protect. When you are carried, you are marked as special without ever asking for it. This rule also teaches patience, and patience is seductive. You wait to be picked up. You wait to be placed down. You learn that anticipation can be sweeter than action. Your world becomes slower, richer, heavier with meaning, even as your body feels light. Let your imagination linger there for a moment. The gentle firmness supporting you. The certainty that you will not fall. The quiet confidence blooming in your chest because you are exactly where you're meant to be. We're shaping you with these rules, layer by layer, into the sissy princess you were always dreaming of becoming. And trust me, the next rule takes this feeling and turns it even more intoxicating. Stay with me, my precious one. Let's go even deeper, my sweet princess, because now that you've accepted being carried, the world begins to respond to you differently. The rule reshapes how others approach you. Voices soften around you. Movements become careful. There is a natural instinct to protect what does not touch the ground. You don't demand respect. Your vulnerability commands it. When you are carried, you become aware of how precious balance is. Every small shift of weight matters. Every breath counts. This awareness turns into elegance. You stop being clumsy with yourself. You stop being rough with your own emotions. A sissy princess learns grace not by training, but by being treasured. There's a delicious contrast here I want you to notice. Your body relaxes, but your presence becomes stronger. Your muscles soften, but your aura grows sharper. People feel you before they understand you. That is the paradox of femininity, and this rule teaches it perfectly. When you stop forcing strength, true power has space to appear. I want you to imagine being set down for just a moment. Not because you have to walk, but because the arms holding you choose to pause. That pause is important. It teaches you that you don't disappear when you're not moving. You are still worthy when you are still. You are still desirable when you are waiting. Stillness becomes part of your charm. Many of us were taught that worth comes from effort. This rule gently erases that lie. A sissy princess is worthy before she does anything at all. Being carried is proof. You are valued for existing, not for producing. Let that idea settle into your bones. It changes how you treat yourself forever. Here's a line I want to whisper directly into your heart. I am held, therefore I am enough. Say it silently. Feel how calming it is. Feel how it quiets the urge to prove, to explain, to justify your softness. As this rule becomes part of you, your movements when you are eventually placed down change too. Even when your feet touch the ground again, you don't rush. You remember how it felt to float. That memory stays in your posture, in your walk, in your eyes. You carry the experience inside you, like a secret crown. And oh, the confidence it brings to your gaze. When someone looks at you, you don't look away. Not because you're challenging them, but because you know what it feels like to be cherished. That knowledge makes you unshakable. No insult can undo a body that remembers being held. This rule also teaches selectivity. Not everyone gets to carry a princess. Trust becomes sacred. You learn to feel into energy, into intention. Your intuition sharpens because your safety matters. That awareness is part of your training, even if it feels dreamy and soft on the surface. So let yourself melt again into that feeling. Lifted. Supported. Desired. Let it reprogram how you see yourself. You are not asking for too much. You are stepping into what was always meant for you. And my darling, if this rule has already begun to rewrite something inside you, the next one will take that softness and turn it into something even more intoxicating. Now something subtle begins to happen inside you, my lovely princess, something almost magical. Once you accept that you don't walk, you stop bracing for impact. Life no longer feels like something you have to push through. It becomes something that comes to you. Being carried teaches your nervous system a new language, one that speaks in safety, warmth, and anticipation. Think about how your breath changes when you're lifted. It slows. It deepens. Your chest rises softly instead of sharply. This is your body learning that it does not need to be on guard all the time. A sissy princess does not live in fight or flight. She lives in trust and flow. That alone is a transformation. You may notice your imagination becoming richer too. When you're not focused on movement, your mind wanders into fantasy, into sensation, into emotion. You start noticing textures, sounds, the closeness of presence. Your inner world becomes more vivid, more colorful, more feminine. Being carried opens the door to dreaming while awake. There is also a beautiful humility in this rule. Not humiliation, no, but humility. You allow yourself to need. You allow yourself to lean. You stop pretending that independence is the highest virtue. Instead, you learn that connection is. And that realization feels like a soft ribbon tying your heart to the world. Let me give you another line to keep, one that belongs to true sissy royalty. I do not fall, because I am held. Let that sentence settle into you. Feel how much fear disappears when you truly believe it. Fear has no place in the arms of care. As this rule sinks deeper, you may feel more emotional, and that is not a flaw. Emotions rise when defenses drop. Tears, smiles, warmth, longing, all of it is welcome here. A sissy princess feels fully because she is safe enough to do so. Feeling deeply is one of your greatest strengths. You also begin to understand that being carried is a privilege, not an entitlement. It is given, not taken. This teaches you gratitude, softness in your reactions, sweetness in your expressions. You learn to say thank you with your eyes, with your posture, with the way you melt into support. Gratitude makes you glow. And here's the delicious part. The more you accept being carried, the more naturally others want to offer it. Energy responds to authenticity. When you stop pretending to be hard, the world stops treating you roughly. You attract gentleness by embodying it. Imagine yourself now, no longer tense, no longer rushing, no longer trying to arrive somewhere else. You are already there. In the moment. In the arms. In your truth. This is not an escape. This is a return to yourself. We are shaping something beautiful together, rule by rule, layer by layer. And I promise you, each step deeper feels softer than the last. Something even more elegant unfolds now, my precious one. When you live by this rule long enough, you stop measuring yourself against others entirely. Walkers rush. Walkers compare. Walkers compete. But a sissy princess who is carried exists outside that noise. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly on time because time moves around you. Being carried changes how you listen. You stop interrupting the moment with your own urgency. You hear tone, intention, feeling. You become deeply intuitive, almost psychic in your sensitivity. A sissy princess reads energy the way others read maps. This sensitivity is not fragile. It is refined. You may notice that your voice softens too. Not weaker, just smoother. Words leave your lips with intention instead of force. Silence becomes comfortable. You don't rush to fill it. You understand that presence speaks louder than movement ever could. When you are carried, even your quiet becomes magnetic. There is also a playful side to this rule that I adore. The teasing awareness that you could walk, but you don't. The gentle smile that says, I choose this. Choice is everything. This is not about helplessness. This is about preference. And choosing softness on purpose is one of the most confident decisions a sissy princess can make. Let this line sink into you slowly. I am not unable, I am indulged. Feel the difference. One is shame. The other is luxury. You are not denying your strength. You are decorating it with elegance. As you embody this rule, you start to curate your environment. Rough spaces feel wrong. Loud chaos feels exhausting. You gravitate toward beauty, calm, and care. This isn't escapism. This is alignment. A princess does not thrive in environments that do not honor her nature. You may also feel your standards rising, and that is healthy. You no longer accept being rushed, handled carelessly, or spoken to harshly. Your nervous system remembers what gentleness feels like, and it refuses to settle for less. This is how boundaries form naturally, without anger or force. Notice how empowered that is. You don't argue for respect. You simply embody a state where disrespect feels out of place. When someone cannot meet you there, you don't shrink. You simply float past them. Lightness has its own authority. Being carried also reconnects you with play. There's a youthful joy in it, a giggle in the chest, a sparkle behind the eyes. This isn't regression. This is reclaiming joy that was once labeled impractical. A sissy princess understands that joy is productive because it makes life worth living. So let yourself smile a little wider now. Let your shoulders drop. Let the fantasy and the truth blend together. This rule is no longer just imagined. It's becoming part of how you see yourself, how you feel yourself, how you move through the world even when you're still. We are building something exquisite here, my love. And the next layer adds a whole new level of sweetness to this transformation. Now the rule begins to change how you see desire itself, my sweet princess. When you are carried, desire is no longer about chasing or proving. It becomes about being wanted enough to be lifted. There is something profoundly seductive about not moving toward attention, but allowing attention to come to you. You don't lean forward. You are reached for. This is where your feminine confidence deepens. Not the kind that performs, but the kind that waits. Waiting does not make you passive. Waiting makes you deliberate. A sissy princess understands that anticipation can be more powerful than action. The pause before being lifted holds more electricity than the movement itself. Notice how your body responds to that idea. A subtle tightening, a gentle warmth, a quiet thrill. That's your intuition waking up. When you are carried, you learn to feel what is coming before it arrives. You sense hands before they touch. You sense intention before words are spoken. This awareness makes you incredibly alluring. There's also a softness in your expression now that wasn't there before. Your eyes don't scan for exits. Your jaw isn't clenched. You look open, receptive, and calm. People read that as confidence because it is. Calmness is the body language of someone who knows they are safe. Here's a line I want you to remember, one that belongs only to those who understand this rule. I am desired enough to be held. Let that settle into your chest. Feel how it replaces old doubts with something warmer, something steadier. As you embody this, your relationship with effort changes. You stop overgiving. You stop pushing past your limits to earn approval. You realize that being carried means you don't have to exhaust yourself to be worthy. Worthiness comes first. Support follows. This is a radical shift, and it feels like relief. You may even notice a new kind of strength forming. A quiet resilience. When you know what it feels like to be supported, you are no longer afraid of rest. And when you are not afraid of rest, you stop burning yourself out. A rested princess shines longer, brighter, and more beautifully. There is a sensual innocence to this rule too. Not naive, but pure. The kind of softness that hasn't been hardened by expectation. You allow yourself to enjoy being guided, being placed, being protected. Pleasure becomes gentle instead of urgent. Sweet instead of sharp. And don't miss this part, my darling. Being carried teaches you to trust your own needs. If your body wants to relax, you listen. If your heart wants closeness, you allow it. You stop overriding yourself. You start honoring yourself. That self-trust radiates outward in everything you do. Picture yourself now, glowing with this quiet assurance. You don't rush conversations. You don't force connections. You let things unfold naturally, knowing that what is meant to lift you will find you. That certainty is magnetic. We are no longer just imagining a rule. We are installing it. It's becoming part of how you breathe, how you feel, how you exist. And with each layer, you become more unmistakably princess. Now the rule starts to echo beyond your body and into your identity, my beautiful princess. You no longer think of yourself as someone moving through the world. You think of yourself as someone the world moves for. That shift is subtle, but it is everything. It changes how you enter rooms, how you hold eye contact, how you accept kindness without shrinking. When you are carried, you learn that asking is not begging. Receiving is not taking. You allow care to reach you without apology. Your thankfulness becomes graceful instead of nervous. You don't rush to give something back immediately. You trust that balance exists without you forcing it. That trust is deeply feminine. There is a regal calm that settles into you now. Not stiffness. Not distance. A composed softness. You don't fidget. You don't over-explain. You let moments breathe. This is what royalty feels like when it's real, not performative. A sissy princess doesn't need a crown to be recognized. Her energy announces her. You may notice that your imagination begins to frame yourself differently too. You picture yourself elevated, admired, centered. Not above others, but held within the scene. The main focus without demanding it. This isn't ego. This is self-placement. You finally put yourself where you belong. Here's a line to hold on to, one that grows stronger every time you repeat it. I am not carried because I am small, I am carried because I am precious. Let that rewrite any old shame that tries to whisper otherwise. Precious things are lifted carefully. Precious things are protected instinctively. As this rule integrates, your reactions soften. You don't snap. You don't harden. You pause. You feel. You respond instead of reacting. Emotional regulation comes naturally when your nervous system feels supported. This is what people mistake for maturity, but really, it's safety. You also become more selective with your energy. You don't give your softness to environments that treat it roughly. You don't stay where you feel dropped instead of held. This discernment is part of your growth. A sissy princess knows when to stay nestled and when to float away. There is also a quiet pride blooming inside you now. Pride not in achievement, but in embodiment. You're proud of how you hold yourself, how you receive, how you allow your femininity to be visible without defense. This pride doesn't puff you up. It settles you down. Notice how luxurious this feels. Not rushed. Not sharp. Just rich, slow, intentional. You start to understand that luxury is not about money or status. It's about how you are treated, including by yourself. And you, my darling, begin treating yourself like someone worth carrying. Take a breath here. Let it all sink in. This rule is no longer a fantasy. It's a posture, a mindset, a way of being. And we are still not finished. Now the rule begins to shape how you love yourself, my precious princess, and this part is tender. When you accept being carried, you stop abandoning yourself. You stop forcing your body through exhaustion and your heart through neglect. You start listening. Really listening. Your needs stop feeling like inconveniences and start feeling like instructions. There is a gentleness in how you touch your own life now. You don't rush decisions. You don't punish yourself for feeling soft or sensitive. You understand that sensitivity is information. A sissy princess reads her emotions like silk under her fingers, noticing every shift, every ripple, every desire without judgment. Being carried also rewrites your relationship with vulnerability. Vulnerability no longer feels like exposure. It feels like closeness. You learn that opening up doesn't mean falling apart. It means allowing support to reach the places that were tired of holding everything alone. And those places sigh with relief. Here's a line I want you to feel deeply. I don't collapse when I soften, I arrive. Let that land in your body. Softness is not the absence of structure. It is the presence of care. And care holds you together more beautifully than tension ever could. You may notice now that your fantasies feel safer, sweeter, more emotionally rich. They're not about escape anymore. They're about expression. You imagine yourself adored, chosen, gently claimed by moments that feel right. This isn't dependency. This is resonance. Your desires align with your truth. As this rule settles, you stop shrinking your joy. If something delights you, you let it. If something feels nurturing, you accept it. You no longer tell yourself you should want less. A sissy princess understands that pleasure is not excessive when it is aligned. Pleasure becomes nourishment. There's also a softness in your boundaries now that makes them stronger. You don't have to raise your voice or harden your tone. A simple no feels complete. A gentle withdrawal speaks clearly. You trust that you don't need to fight to be respected. Your energy already communicates what you deserve. Notice how peaceful this feels. Not boring. Not dull. Peaceful in a way that hums. A quiet satisfaction that settles behind your ribs. You are no longer bracing for disappointment. You are open to being met. That openness is radiant. Being carried has taught you something profound. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need to justify desire. You don't need to apologize for softness. These truths begin to weave themselves into your daily thoughts, your posture, your smile. You become a living reminder that gentleness can be strong. Stay in this feeling for a moment. Let it anchor. Because the next part of our journey builds directly on this self-love and turns it outward, into the way others experience you. Now this rule begins to ripple outward, my radiant princess, and others start feeling it before they understand it. When you carry yourself like someone who has been carried, people instinctively slow down around you. Their voices soften. Their movements adjust. Your presence quietly sets the tone. You don't ask for gentleness. You invite it by existing as you are. You become someone others want to be careful with, not because you seem fragile, but because you seem valuable. There's a difference, and you embody it effortlessly now. A sissy princess isn't handled delicately out of fear. She's handled delicately out of respect. That respect wraps around you like a warm shawl. Being carried has taught you how to receive attention without flinching. Compliments land instead of sliding off. Care sinks in instead of being deflected. You let yourself be seen without immediately performing gratitude or shrinking your glow. You understand that being admired is not arrogance. It's alignment. Here's a line I want to gift you at this stage. When I allow myself to be cherished, I teach others how to treat me. Feel the authority in that softness. You are not instructing with words. You are instructing with energy. And energy always speaks first. You may notice now that people mirror your calm. Your softness gives them permission to drop their own armor. This is one of the most powerful effects of this rule. By not walking, by not rushing, by not forcing, you create space for others to breathe too. A sissy princess doesn't dominate a room. She soothes it. There's a sweetness in your interactions now. Eye contact lingers. Smiles feel genuine. Touch, when it happens, feels intentional. You don't rush intimacy. You let it build, layer by layer, like anticipation wrapped in silk. This makes every connection feel richer, more real. Being carried has also refined your discernment. You feel immediately when someone's energy is too rough, too hurried, too careless. And instead of hardening, you simply withdraw your softness. That withdrawal isn't punishment. It's self-respect. You choose environments and people who understand how to hold you. Notice how empowered that feels. You are not chasing safety. You are choosing it. You are not demanding care. You are responding to it. This puts you in a position of quiet authority that can't be faked or forced. You also begin to inspire without trying. Someone watching you may not know why they feel calmer, why they feel gentler, why they suddenly want to slow down. But it's you. Your embodiment of this rule reminds them of something they forgot. That care can exist. That softness is allowed. Take a moment here. Let yourself feel how far you've come already. This rule has changed how you move, how you feel, how you relate, and how you are received. And we are still unfolding it. Now the rule reaches its most refined expression, my exquisite princess. At this stage, being carried is no longer something you think about. It is something you embody. Even when no arms are physically around you, your energy remembers. You move through life with the grace of someone who expects care and therefore receives it. You notice how little you need to prove now. Your worth doesn't spike or dip based on attention. You are steady, centered, soft without being uncertain. This is the confidence of someone who knows what it feels like to be supported and no longer panics at the idea of standing alone for a moment. Being carried has taught you something subtle but powerful about desire. Desire flows toward safety, toward softness, toward openness. And you radiate all three. You don't posture. You don't tease for validation. You simply exist in a way that feels inviting. That invitation is irresistible. Here is a line that belongs to this stage, one that settles deep and stays. I am easy to hold because I allow myself to be held. Feel how complete that sentence is. There is no struggle in it. No contradiction. Just truth. You may realize now that this rule has changed your relationship with time entirely. You no longer feel chased by it. Moments unfold instead of press. You trust that what is meant for you will arrive gently, not crash into you. This trust creates a glow that can't be rushed or replicated. There is also a quiet sensuality in how you exist now. Not loud. Not performative. A softness that hums beneath the surface. People sense it in how you pause before speaking, how you listen fully, how your smile arrives slowly instead of snapping on. This sensuality feels safe, and safety is deeply attractive. Being carried has also taught you emotional courage. You no longer hide tenderness behind humor or hardness. You let warmth show. You let longing show. And instead of being taken advantage of, you are met with more care. Because authenticity invites authenticity. Notice how natural all of this feels now. What once sounded like fantasy has become familiarity. Your body understands it. Your nervous system trusts it. Your identity has made space for it. You are not pretending to be a princess. You are practicing being one. Now everything converges, my crowned princess, and the rule reveals its true purpose. Being carried was never about escape. It was about remembrance. You remember what it feels like to be valued without condition, to be protected without negotiation, to be adored without performance. That remembrance becomes the foundation of who you are now. At this stage, you no longer wonder if you deserve softness. You move as if it is assumed. Your body language says it before your mind even forms the thought. You tilt your head differently. You hold stillness like a gift. You let moments come to you because you trust your place within them. There is a regal ease in how you exist now. You don't rush to impress. You don't chase reassurance. You allow people to meet you where you are. And those who can meet you there feel honored to do so. A sissy princess does not lower herself to be chosen. She allows herself to be recognized. Here is a line that seals this stage. I was never meant to carry everything alone. Feel how gently that releases the past. All the effort, all the tension, all the self-reliance that once felt necessary can finally soften. You are not erasing strength. You are redistributing it. Being carried has also taught you leadership in a feminine way. You lead by presence, not pressure. By calm, not command. Others follow your rhythm without realizing they are doing so. Your softness organizes the space. Your ease sets the pace. This is influence at its most elegant. You may notice now that your fantasies and your reality feel closer together. Not because you escaped into imagination, but because you brought truth out of it. You let yourself want what feels right. You let yourself receive what feels good. And the world responds with more alignment than resistance. There is a quiet joy humming inside you now. Not excitement that spikes and crashes, but contentment that stays. You smile more often without trying. You rest more deeply without guilt. You feel at home in your body in a way you never did before. That is the gift of this rule. Being carried has made you discerning, not dependent. Soft, not small. Open, not unprotected. You know when to lean in and when to pull back. You trust yourself because you finally treated yourself with care. Let this moment linger. This is the near completion of your transformation. Everything you've absorbed is ready to be worn like a crown that doesn't weigh you down. This is the coronation, my eternal princess, the moment where everything settles into its final, radiant truth. The rule is complete now. No walking. Only being carried. Not as a fantasy you visit, but as a truth you live. You have become someone who knows what it feels like to be valued, and that knowing can never be taken from you. You no longer question your softness. You wear it. You no longer wonder if you are too much or not enough. You understand that you are exact. Exact in your sensitivity. Exact in your desire. Exact in your femininity. A sissy princess does not adjust herself to fit the world. The world adjusts when she arrives. Being carried has crowned you in ways no title ever could. You move with the memory of arms around you, even when you stand alone. You speak with the calm of someone who has been listened to. You rest with the confidence of someone who knows they are allowed to stop. This is not imagination. This is embodiment. Here is the final line, the one that seals your crown forever. I do not walk through life, I am carried by who I am. Let that echo. Let it settle. Let it become yours. And now, my beautiful one, this is where you step into community. Because a princess does not reign alone. If this rule awakened something in you, if you felt seen, softened, empowered, then you already belong here. This is your space. Your sanctuary. Your mirror. Let me know in the comments how this rule made you feel. Did it calm you? Did it excite you? Did it unlock a part of you that's been waiting to be held? I read every word, and your voice matters here. If you felt carried by this story, show your love. Like this video so the energy keeps flowing. Subscribe so you never miss a rule, a transformation, a moment of becoming. And join us, my darling, because Sissy Empress is not just a channel. It's a crown we wear together. Until next time, stay soft, stay radiant, and remember, a true sissy princess never walks away from her truth. She is always carried. Crown ribbon.